But the last mistake that I see women make in burnout is that they don't focus on building this capacity for long enough. They do not have a mindset of longevity. And so we're constantly looking for quick fixes. I mean, you see it on Facebook constantly. It's so aggravating to me. I mean, I just have to, it angers me so much, and I really have to refrain from commenting on these Facebook posts, because the question goes out, right? My son, my daughter, me, this, that, whoever it is experiencing this problem. What can I do for it? And you just see a million comments come in. Everyone has a different opinion, and it's all about a quick fix. It's about a quick fix. And that's just not the case. Our body is looking for consistency. It's looking for repetition. It's looking for where it can begin to trust us again, where it's going to find nourishment again. And so that is really the key to not only creating a habit within you to change some of your patterns into these new lifestyle patterns so that your health will last long term, but it's also about, shifting the mindset into a mindset of longevity and going, okay, well, it took me 30 years really of getting to this place of depletion. So I'm not just gonna be able to take one supplement and expect it to be the magic fix for everything. I'm not just going to be able to take this one thing for a week and expect it to be the magic wand that fixes everything. That's just not how it works. And that's really not God's design either. That's why the Israelites stayed in the wilderness for 40 years, because it took a mindset shift. It took a whole generation to shift a mindset into something different. And so that's where we're at. We're kind of in this mindset shift that's going on. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Christian Wellness for Weary Women. I'm your host, Cassie Hutton, and today we're going to talk about basically what I talked about in my Burnout Recovery workshop last Monday. If you weren't able to make it, you're going to get some of that here today in this podcast episode. So episode 91, I'm so close to 100 episodes. I don't know what I'm going to do for my 100th episode. I started thinking about that today. I should try to do something special. We'll see. I'm not promising anything, but I can try. I can get it in the works. I can get some ideas from some of my podcast friends. Gosh, if you've been listening to this podcast for the years that I've been doing it, if you go back and listen to it, first of all, when this podcast first started, I called it Barefoot Parenting. And I was homeschooling. We had a homeschool group that was going, and it was so much fun. It organically happened, and it lasted for a year, and we had so much fun just meeting together as parents. And basically the moms were doing what we wanted to do, and we were like foraging, we were making tinctures, we were doing all the things that the homesteading movement wanted to do and wanted to learn about. Anyways, it was so much fun. And then it moved into Barefoot Faith, because I moved away from that parenting aspect a little bit and out of the homeschool aspect a little bit, and was more so in inner healing. And it was a play on words, bear, B-E-A-R, like mama bear, and then the wild and free spirit, barefoot. So anyways, if you've been here from the beginning, or if you go back and listen to some of those earlier episodes, then you'll see how far I've come, hopefully. I have not gone back and listened to much of them, but I am going to mention episode 25 because someone reached out to me in my email and they said, thank you so much. Amy is her name. Thank you so much for putting time into quality content. It was exactly what I needed to hear this morning, specifically for my husband and my younger teenager. And she mentioned that she listened to episode 25, and that was, I believe it was about cellular energy and the nervous system. And that was like when I was moving into more of this space in this realm. So yeah, I've produced a lot of episodes since then. It's just reflecting back on it is like, okay, yes, like In other words, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. There will be seasons. There were plenty of seasons where I went for months without publishing a podcast episode, which is not good. I need to stay consistent, but I was also in deep burnout. And so give yourself grace. Time will come when the time is right and your body has the energy to do what it needs to do, and you begin to prioritize what needs to be prioritized first. That's when capacity begins to build and you get to start building your dreams, your wishes, your desires, your passions, which is super important to also in your health. I believe if you're not pursuing your passions and something that you truly are passionate about, that is also very detrimental to your health. Anyways, moving on into today's actual episode. The 5 nervous system mistakes that women make in burnout recovery. So why a lot of women are still burned out, or why they're still experiencing a lot of health struggles and health issues and things that they've tried for years to heal their bodies, and they're doing everything right. They're doing it by the book. They've done everything that their holistic practitioner has suggested. They've done everything their doctor has suggested. They've done everything, okay? And they're growing weary with why their body is still not producing results. So we're going to get into that. So number one, one of the top main reasons that women stay stuck in burnout is that we need to stop treating burnout like it's a motivation problem. Like, in other words, you don't have the energy to get up and do something. And so this starts a lot of negative self-talk. And that negative self-talk, your body picks up on it. It creates stress. Imagine someone constantly on the outside saying to you, you're no good. Why don't you have the energy? A why question is a lot of times very triggering for people. It puts them into a place of defense. Like the why question, I teach my kids that all the time. Like, no, we're not going to ask why, because that immediately causes someone to feel shame. It immediately causes, and I don't want to say all the time, but pay attention to it. Is your why question bringing shame? And then think about it for yourself. If you're doing these things, you're asking your own self these questions, then your body remembers that and it's reacting to it. And so burnout is not a lack of discipline or faith. If your body does not even have the capacity, then pushing harder is only going to make it worse. And so, in the afternoons, let's say you have kids and it's time to get them to baseball practice. It's time to get them to whatever sports event that they need to go to. It's time to get them here and there and all around. On top of that, you've got homework if you're homeschooling, okay? And so all of a sudden we find ourselves being, we are responsible for getting them somewhere, and we're held accountable by other people, because if it's a team sport or if you're going to a coach, you're taking your child to piano lessons or something like that, someone else is relying on you. And so you are also kind of held accountable by that. And so a lot of us who are people pleasers, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't let them down, instead of focusing on us and prioritizing us and saying, okay, you know what? We actually just don't have the capacity for this today, and I feel it in my body, and so I'm going to honor my body and stop trying to press so hard and keep trying to do so much. So that's the number one mistake that I see tons and tons of parents specifically who have school-aged children and trying to involve them in every little bitty thing, and on top of that, having no time for themselves. So stop trying to push harder. It's time to take a few things off of your plate. And, even if you have to take your kid out of something for a year or two so that you can prioritize you, or even for 6 months, if they have to skip one season of whatever sports event that it is, God forbid, so that you can focus on you and actually get your energy, health and health back, then it's going to be worth it. It's going to actually propel you and your family forward in the years to come. Instead of staying in a burnout mode where you have low energy, you're going to stay in that low energy season for longer, and it's actually going to slow you down in the long run. Number 2, recognize why what you've tried has not worked. Okay? So think about all the things that you've tried. Maybe it's been actually taking supplements that didn't actually work. Maybe it's been that you did some detoxes. And listen, I talked to someone the other day. I went to massage with her actually, and we've connected after quite a few years. She's also a homeschooling mom, started homeschooling at the same time I did. And she has been through way more health struggles than I have. And she almost died actually. And so she told me, because a lot of people will turn to, they feel like they need to do a detox or a parasite cleanse whenever something feels off in their body. They start having the low energy. They start experiencing a few health symptoms, digestive symptoms, things going on, and then their mind immediately goes to, well, maybe I just need to do like a liver detox, or maybe I just need to do like a parasite cleanse. And actually, we need to be asking ourselves the deeper question, why is my liver not detoxing properly? Why is my body not actually getting rid of the parasites the way that they need to? That's not even to say that you even have parasites or that you need a liver cleanse, although a lot of us have a very overburdened liver, and here in the US, for whatever reason, we don't normally do parasite cleanses like most other countries do. And so, yes, two of those things are maybe likely, but when you find your body in a low energetic state and you try to do a parasite cleanse or some sort of crazy detox, it's actually going to send, what it's doing is it's going to make your body feel a little bit better for a minute, but what it's actually doing, it's not actually able, because your body doesn't have the resources to actually detox these things and get rid of them. And so it kind of just sends things back into order, back into the body, and it just kind of ends up stirring it up. And after a few weeks, which is what happened to this lady, she found herself in the hospital on her deathbed. Like, she almost died. And that she knows that that's actually what caused her symptoms to flare up so much worse and put her in the hospital and triggered the autoimmune diseases that she's dealing with now and so many other health issues going on now. And so a lot of times that's what people turn to. In fact, specifically, someone was following me and asked on her Facebook group, on her Facebook page, has anyone ever looked into HTMA testing? And someone commented down below, girl, you don't need that. You just need to do a parasite cleanse and a detox. And it was like, okay, you know, this is just health advice that we're just throwing out to anybody because we've heard someone else say it and we haven't actually done our research or actually repaired our own body by these things. And if you did a parasite cleanse or a detox and it worked for you, that's wonderful. I'm glad that it did. That means that your body had the foundational tools that it needed and you weren't in burnout. And so your body was able to actually expel these things in your body and it didn't just stir up a bunch of chaos. But for a lot of people, it does. You may have tried other things. You may have started working out. You may have tried to, this is where we see a lot of like discipline start to come in, and we have this mindset that we maybe just need to be a little bit harder on our bodies, but we don't actually realize that we've been way too hard on our bodies, and this is now why our body is throwing out all of these crazy symptoms. And so we start working out harder. We start moving our body more, which is not bad. But if we're doing crazy workouts that's actually spiking our cortisol and we actually don't have the energy for it, we're not eating good enough for it, then these are all bad things, okay? Another thing that I see a lot of people do, and I've had a client that came to me with major fibroids going on, and she was having so many digestive symptoms and reacting to food. She's like, you know what? She basically started doing like almost a 20-hour fast each day, intermittent fasting, and was only eating one meal a day. And she's like, well, I feel better. I'm like, well, yeah, of course you feel better because you're not eating foods. And so therefore your body's not going to react to it, but you can't do that. You're literally starving your body, sending it into cortisol spikes, stressing your metabolism out big time, especially as women. And then there's no way you're going to be able to get the nutrients into your body to replenish. The reason why it felt like it needed to start developing fibroids in the first place. And so as we worked together, it was a major eye-opener for her. And she was like, wow, I had no idea that I was treating my body so poorly and was disciplining my body so badly. I really just needed to find the foods that my body wouldn't react to. And I needed to support it with the nutrients that I was depleted in. And we found that through HTMA testing, and we were able to target those things. And she is doing much better. I talk to her often, actually, and she feels like she can now support her body through what she learned by working with me. Okay, number 3, the third mistake that I see women in burnout make is that they do not prioritize stabilizing their body before anything else. So this is the point of this whole podcast, is that the reason why what you've tried in the past hasn't worked is because you're skipping the very elementary piece that we all have to have. You have to stabilize the body. So how do you stabilize the body? Well, number 1, you have to nourish your body. You have to eat. You have to eat well. You have to eat enough. So many women are under eating. If you're not eating close to 2,000 calories a day, you're under eating. There's no doubt about it. You need to be eating foods that are nourishing to your body, and then start paying attention to, first of all, start doing that. Just start eating enough. And then once you get into a good rhythm of eating enough, make sure that you are eating foods that your body will no longer react to, and start honing in on what your body loves, and start cutting out some things that your body will react to, and you'll start seeing a major change in your digestive system. And a lot of times whenever you start to do that, the point is not to cut it out completely, but the point is that when you start targeting nutrient deficiencies by looking at your HTMA test and then cutting out foods that your body's reacting to, the body has time to actually rest and digest again. You're bringing your body back into a state of, wow, okay, now I'm calm. Now I'm not constantly fighting these reactive foods. And now I can actually focus on healing, which is one thing that I provide for all of my clients that come work with me, is weekly meal plans that are focused on healing the gut, focused on foods that your body won't react to, so that your gut can focus on healing, which is a major step, along with targeting those nutrient deficiencies. And so other things that help in stabilizing the body before anything else is a lot of grounding work. Stop looking at screens. Start going out in nature. Start getting your sunshine throughout the day. Start doing things that you enjoy again. Start scheduling those things in. Little things like this are going to play a major role in healing your body. Making sure you put the time in to just give yourself things that you enjoy, getting back into nature and start living again like God designed us to live. Basically is what it comes down to. Eat a lot and get out in nature. Those are 2 major things that you can do. If you skip this step and jump straight into fixing hormones, taking supplements, you're going to stay stuck. Your body has to feel supported before it can actually change. Number 4, this is where what we did in the Burnout Recovery Workshop. It's to build a simple nervous system support plan. So based on all the things that we've talked about so far, what hasn't worked and what you need to focus on to prioritize stability in the body, take what comes to mind out of those 2 things and start building yourself a simple nervous system support plan. And so you want to focus on, whenever you start building yourself this plan, something to really focus on, one thing to focus on, because you're trying to build capacity. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with trying to change too much at once, or trying to just add in a bunch of things, because you don't want to add anything to your already overwhelmed system. You're trying to cut back on things and just focus on, what can I do today? What's something I can focus on for a solid week that will help me stabilize the body before I add in something else? And so I'm going to give you some examples here. So if you, I want you to think about where you feel least resilient right now. Where do you feel least resilient in your health, in your body, in your day-to-day? What's the thing that just really gets you down each day? So if it's energy crashes, I'm just giving you some ideas here. Do you wake up tired, even though you've slept all night, or maybe you're up quite a bit at night? Maybe it takes you a really long time to fall asleep, and you wake up and you still don't feel that restorative sleep. Maybe you have major stress and anxiety. Maybe you're very reactive when you get stressed out. Maybe you're very reactive to people or your children or your husband or your spouse. Do you have blood sugar swings, crashes, spikes? Are you dealing with that? One sign of blood sugar swings is feeling shaky, constant hunger, feeling extreme hunger pains all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, I'm very hungry all of a sudden. Brain fog that kind of happens in between meals along with that shakiness. These are all signs of blood sugar crashes. If you have cycle irregularity or PMS intensity, you may experience brain fog or poor focus. So those are some ideas of maybe areas where you feel least resilient. So you're going to choose one, and maybe you chose one that I didn't list here, and that's fine. Go with it. You're going to then focus on rebuilding capacity in that area that feels most depleting right now or least resilient. And you're going to support it by nourishing your body, reducing your stress load, and then creating a consistent rhythm over the next week. So I'm going to lay some more examples out for you. So if you chose energy, if energy feels the most fragile to you, you're going to focus on nourishment and blood sugar stability. And so if you're not sure how to stabilize your blood sugar, stabilizing your blood sugar looks like eating protein first at every meal. So if you have protein in two sides, you're going to eat your protein first. So your protein is your meat. If you're not sure, your protein is your meat. And a good way to measure it is just to think of about a handful of whatever protein that you have on your plate. You need to be at least eating a full handful of it. It should fit in the palm of your hand. And then cutting out some complex carbs. So if you love potatoes, that might be something that you need to cut out. If you love bread, that might be something that you need to cut out. So grains and complex carbs can be something that you cut out, and adding in some really healthy fats can help stabilize your blood sugar. That can be very helpful. So if sleep feels the most fragile to you right now, you're going to focus on protecting sleep time. You're going to start building yourself a simple bedtime routine and start going to bed at the same time every night. So something I do, I turn my sound machine on, I close my blinds down, close the curtains, and I fix my covers exactly like I want them because I'm a little bit OCD about that. I make sure the air is turned down, and I make sure my alarm is on for the morning, and then I let my head hit the pillow. And this is extremely helpful. If you have a really hard time falling asleep, one thing you can do is some deep breathing exercises as your head hits the pillow. Breathe out longer than you're breathing in. I'm telling you, it helps so much. Make sure that you're not watching screens at the end of the evening. You're putting that away. As the sun goes down, so do your screens, because screens and blue light keep your brain awake, and it's time to start shutting the brain off. If you can just start turning your lights down with the sun, start preparing your home for bedtime. As you're preparing for bedtime, this can make a huge difference in your sleep routine, okay? One more example. If anxiety feels the most fragile, you're going to focus on a nervous system regulation, and you're going to fuel that consistency. So nervous system regulation looks like getting out in the sunshine, doing some deep breathing exercises, focusing on your posture. How are you sitting throughout the day? Are you hunched over a lot? It's time to start opening up your shoulders, bringing them back, holding your neck back, bringing back your lower arch in the back, in your lower back. This is a trauma response. If you lose your butt, this is a trauma response. It's tucking your tail and running. Basically, is what it's showing that you've done this throughout your life. I've had to correct that. Actually, I have a whole I've corrected it. It's amazing. I have a butt again. That's really weird to say. Okay, so that's what it looks like to build a simple nervous system support plan. But the last mistake that I see women make in burnout is that they don't focus on building this capacity for long enough. They do not have a mindset of longevity. And so we're constantly looking for quick fixes. I mean, you see it on Facebook constantly. It's so aggravating to me. I mean, I just have to, it angers me so much, and I really have to refrain from commenting on these Facebook posts, because the question goes out, right? my son, my daughter, me, this, that, whoever it is experiencing this problem. What can I do for it? And you just see a million comments come in. Everyone has a different opinion. And it's all about a quick fix. It's about a quick fix. And that's just not the case. Our body is looking for consistency. It's looking for repetition. It's looking for where it can begin to trust us again, where it's going to find nourishment again. And so that is really the key to not only creating a habit within you to change some of your patterns into these new lifestyle patterns so that your health will last long term, but it's also about, shifting the mindset into a mindset of longevity and going, okay, well, it took me 30 years really of getting to this place of depletion. So I'm not just gonna be able to take one supplement and expect it to be the magic fix for everything. I'm not just going to be able to take this one thing for a week and expect it to be the magic wand that fixes everything. That's just not how it works. And that's really not God's design either. That's why the Israelites stayed in the wilderness for 40 years, because it took a mindset shift. It took a whole generation to shift a mindset into something different. And so that's where we're at. We're kind of in this mindset shift that's going on, kind of speaking prophetically here into the health space, that we're at a turning point in seeing our health as something a little bit different than we used to see it. We're not looking for a quick fix anymore. Most people aren't. They are gaining a mindset of longevity and generationally, and they are seeing that my health matters now, so that it is my children's health is better and my grandkids' health is better, and we're not stealing, the fruit from the next generations, because ultimately, when our health plummets, we see infertility. And so we don't want that for anyone. So those are the top 5 things that I see a lot of women in burnout make, mistakes that they make. And so take these 5 and create your own. Write them down and stay consistent with the one thing that you change for this week. And then next week, what can you add in on top of that? And start noticing the changes that you see in your body. And with that, I'll see you on next week's podcast episode. Bye.